What's up, ladies? What is going on? Welcome to the Purpose Chaser Podcast, episode number 5. And today we're going to talk about that perfect program for the perfect body, for the perfect woman. Cue the intro.
So the big question is this: how are women who are not gym rats and not looking to walk on a stage to show off their bodies, how are they getting the results that they desire when they never follow conventional ways of dieting and still get jaw-dropping results in their bodies and in their minds? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Coach C, and welcome to Purpose Chaser Radio.
What's up? What is going on? All right, welcome. So you're probably thinking by now, Coach, isn't that very subjective? Isn't that kind of like, that's not a nice thing? There is no perfect body. There is no perfect shape for a woman. How dare you? That's probably what you're thinking right now, which is completely fine because that's your opinion and that's okay. But I'll argue the point that there is a perfect body for you. What it is that you think about your body and what it is that you think about your life is totally up to you. So whatever it is that is going to be perfect in your mind, that's what we're going to talk about today. So how do we create something that is just perfect for you? How do we create something that's going to be so absolutely amazing? I'm going to show you today how I designed the perfect program for the woman for her particular needs. You see, a lot of my clients are in their 40s, late 40s, 50s, and 60s. And the reason why I kind of stay in that range is because of the fact that there's a lot of different variables that they have now that are just a lot better than a woman maybe in her 20s and 30s. Now, I'm going to talk about those things and I'll talk about how those things kind of work out. And for those of you women who are watching this who are in their 20s and 30s, I want you to take a note because this doesn't have to be you. But majority of the women in their 20s and 30s that I meet are at some point where they're raising their kids, there's some point and they're getting married, they're kind of just going and starting out life, right? They're starting out the journey. Women in their late 40s and 50s and 60s have raised their kids for the most part. They probably have a couple of kids in high school or in college at this point or completely removed from the house. That's kind of where they're at. And that is a different type of life than a woman who is in their 20s and 30s trying to raise the kids. Now, am I saying that they can't get fit? Absolutely not. I've met plenty of women have done it. But what I understand about those women is that they have a different type of motivation than most women in their age group. So I like to stick with the women that are in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s because they're at a point now where they're just ready to make that move. They're ready to actually make the thing happen, right? They've done a lot and they've given a lot to everybody in their life, whether they've raised their children, whether they've taken care of their husband for all these years. And they're finally getting to a point where they don't feel that mom's guilt. You know what guilt I'm talking about? You know what I mean? I'm talking about the guilt, like every time you try to work out, your kids come into the back of your mind. Every time you try to do something for yourself, oh, I could be spending this money on something else other than myself. This is kind of selfish. I shouldn't do that. That's the guilt that I'm talking about. You see, when they get to the point where they're a little older and things have already kind of panned out in their life and they've done the things that they needed to do, they just get to a point where they're like, you know what? It is time for me. It's time to spend a little bit more time for myself, a little bit more money on myself, a little bit more investment on myself. And that is the point right there where you can really make some amazing changes in your life. Now, once again, I want to put the disclaimer. Doesn't mean that women in their 20s and 30s can't do it. It just means that you're going to have to be more motivated, have more accountability, and have somebody to hold your feet to the fire to make sure you actually get it done. How many times have you said, well, I'm going to get this thing done. I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to start my nutrition program. I'm going to start my working out. And it just kind of comes and goes, right? And it's a cycle like, I'm really going to stick to it this time. I'm really going to stick to it this time, right? And that happens over and over and over. And I've seen it happen in all of my clients. I've seen it happen in many, many women throughout the years of me doing this. So how do I put the perfect program to a woman that comes to me and she says, I am ready, coach, to get this thing done? One of the first things that I start with is the P, right? The first P. And that first P is purpose. What's the reason? Why are you doing this? Why is it so dang important at this point of your life? And usually at that point, it's for all the things that I've talked about. Well, I've raised the kids. I've given so much of myself. I've given so much to my husband. I've given so much to my the people, my community. I've given so much to my job. I've given so much to my church. I've given so much to everybody else. But now it's time for me. All right, it's time for me to do something for myself. So we figure out how deep that purpose really goes, because if it's generic, if it's kind of surface level, we need to go deeper. We need to figure out how we can get them emotionally attached to the actual outcome. Because if I came to you and said, cool, you want to get in shape? Perfect. You're going to have to do 5,050 burpees. You're going to have to do 20,000 sit-ups. You're going to have to do 20,000 push-ups. And you're going to have to run 1,000 miles. Like if I was going to start the conversation off with that, you would freak out and run away and say, oh, that's a little too hard. That's like not what I'm looking for. But if we start with the purpose and the reason and we give you something to shoot for, we understand what your goal is. We put a start date and an end date to that thing. Now we put down all the pieces that we need to actually design the program around you. Now, one of the other things that we start to take into consideration is the past. What are some of the things that you've done in the past that you've either had success with or you've had failures with, right? So what was the reason why you couldn't stick to those classes that you used to go to at the gym? Or you remember that last time that you hired a personal trainer? Why did that not pan out? What was the truth behind that? What is the real reason why you didn't stick it out, right? Because most times, 9 times out of 10, it's something that was going on in your head. It was something that was heavy on your heart. It was something that distracted you from being on the path that you were supposed to go down, right? So we have to figure that out. The purpose and the past. What are the reasons you want to do what you want to do? Why do you want to do those things? And what is the past failures or successes? What can we learn from those things? Now, finally, we talk about the potential. What is the potential things that you can now do? What do you want to accomplish? What kind of body do you truly want to have? And on top of that, why is it important for you to have this particular type of body? Why? Like, what's the point, right? I'll give you an example of what I mean in some actual tangible steps, right? So if you're trying to be a bodybuilder and you're trying to walk across the stage in a bikini, that's one type of person. But if you're just trying to be an everyday regular person and just look amazing in your jeans and look amazing in your summer dress and just feel so really freaking good, then you can actually eat the freaking eggs and not have to eat chopped down egg whites like the bodybuilder does. Does that make sense? Right? Those are the differences, right? And so there's different programs for different people. Not every woman that comes to me is a perfect client for me. As a matter of fact, I'll be the first one to tell them, like, I'm just not your guy. Because for me, I'm trying to get to the person that is genuinely trying to just be a better person, have a better life, be a more effective wife at this point, be a more effective mom at this point, being able to do the things that they've never been able to achieve. They've seen other people come and have success, and they've looked at it, and it's been evading them. It hasn't been their story, and they're trying to rewrite their story now. They're trying to accomplish the goals and the dreams that they have never been able to catch. Those are the people. Those are the women that I'm trying to work with, right? And so when we start to talk about these things, you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. The perfect program for you is going to be the one that you actually execute and enjoy. You can't be bored with it. You can't be going through all of these things where you're just having this yo-yo where you're going up and down. You have to get a specific system. You have to get a specific coach. You have to be able to put all these things around you to be able to make it happen. When you are getting your finances together, you go to a CPA and he tells you exactly how to spend your money, what to do, what kind of things you should be maneuvering with, where you should invest, all those sort of things, right? When you're trying to figure out what bank you're going to go to, you go sit down with a banker. When you're trying to figure out what your nutrition should look like, you find a coach, you find a nutritionist, you find somebody that is in that arena. So the same goes with your health. If you're truly trying to get fit, tighten and tone your body, to be able to take yourself to another level, to achieve goals that you've never achieved before, you have to find yourself a coach. You have to find yourself somebody. If you are somebody who is just not self-motivated, if you are someone who just can't do the thing without someone holding your hand or at least giving you that little push that you need, then you need to find some accountability. And I'm not talking about your girlfriend down the street. I'm not talking about the one person that says, oh, I'll go with you at 7 o'clock at night. Yay, let's go. Not that person. That's not the freaking person that we're talking about, because trust you me, it is going to be over quicker than you blink, right? You'll probably go for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months at the very most before things start to fall apart, because that person is in the same place. So you're asking somebody who is in the same exact place as you to motivate you to go to the freaking gym when both of you guys are right here. You need someone right here to be able to reach up and pull you up and show you the way. That is a way to get the perfect program, and how I designed the perfect program for the perfect body and for the perfect woman. It's Coach C.
So the big question is this: how are women who are not gym rats and not looking to walk on a stage to show off their bodies, how are they getting the results that they desire when they never follow conventional ways of dieting and still get jaw-dropping results in their bodies and in their minds? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Coach C, and welcome to Purpose Chaser Radio.